It's the press conference stuff. I think like you got 50-50. Either we're going to face off or someone's going to get pushed, and he went for the opposite. So it's like school playground stuff.
The Joshua fight. And I'd like to see these two come together a little bit and just be face to face, up close and personal. Then you.
I know it's like Anthony, Joshua can't win, he can't lose. He's either. And I thought yesterday he looked very tense, very serious.
Boxing insiders have criticized Tyson Fury after his confrontation with Anthony Joshua at a press conference. Rather than taking responsibility for putting his hands on Joshua, Fury appeared to brush off the incident with his usual confidence, suggesting that he was already living rent-free in Joshua's mind. But instead of looking like a clever comeback, his comments came across to many fans as an attempt to avoid accountability, and the audience clearly wasn't impressed.
Involved are marvellous to all the fighters and to all the team members and everything.
Anthony Joshua didn't hold back in his response, describing Tyson Fury's conduct as toxic and comparing his actions to childish schoolyard behavior. Joshua's reaction wasn't just about demanding respect, it also highlighted why an increasing number of boxing professionals are now criticizing Fury following the embarrassing confrontation.
I feel like he's toxic. I feel like you can put any top heavyweight in the world up here, and he'll probably say the same thing about them all. So it's just him as a person, and then he just needs a beat down, needs humbling. And instead of eating cheeseburgers, I'm going to feed him some humble.
Frank Warren was blunt in his criticism, describing the shove as reckless, foolish, and completely inappropriate for a professional boxing event. His comments are especially notable because he is closely connected to Fury's side, yet even he appeared unwilling to defend what happened. It suggests that the press conference incident was seen by people within Fury's own camp as an embarrassing and unnecessary stunt that added nothing to the build-up.
Pushing a shove.
Well, this is not a gang fight. You know, the only two have been fighting are the boxers and save it for the night. They don't get paid. They don't get paid to fight before the fight.
Eddie Hearn acknowledged that the confrontation crossed the line, yet the controversy is also bringing even more attention to the highly anticipated fight. He now finds himself caught between criticizing Fury's actions and recognizing that the drama has generated massive interest in the upcoming blockbuster showdown.
Boxing is family. John's John. Both goading each other. Both very personal. Both means a lot to everybody. Shouldn't have done it.
Anthony Joshua responded with complete confidence, making it clear that he believes he still has the upper hand in this rivalry. What was already a major champion versus challenger storyline has now taken on a much more personal edge, but Joshua appears determined not to let one heated moment at the press conference become the defining chapter of his rivalry with Fury.
It's for any champion. He's a challenger, huh? Yeah, but he can't sell out. This is the first time he's headlining a show. I'm here, I'm the champion.
Tyson Fury attempted to defend his aggressive behavior by portraying himself as a dangerous fighter who had finally been unleashed. However, that explanation has done little to win over boxing professionals. Instead of making the incident look intimidating, the Predator-style narrative has only fueled more criticism, with many questioning how far Fury's conduct has moved away from the standards of professionalism expected at major boxing events. To his critics, the entire performance looked less like controlled dominance and more like an act of desperation to maintain the spotlight.
This time I thought, you know what, it's going to be different again because for the first time in forever, I'm the hunter, I'm not the hunted. And we all know that when I've always been the hunter in the past, I've always fucked people.
Johnny Nelson commended Anthony Joshua for keeping his emotions under control, while suggesting that Fury's attempts to provoke him failed to achieve their intended effect. Joshua chose not to react impulsively and instead walked away from the confrontation, which made him appear more composed and mature in the moment. That sharp contrast between the two fighters has only added fuel to the criticism surrounding Fury's aggressive conduct at the press conference.
Most people, most fighters, ego gets involved, thinking this man's not mugging me off in front of all these people. You get up and say blah, 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 you bite. AJ sat there and he just said, you know, yeah, I'm your landlord. You know, me and you fight, it'll be on my terms. It doesn't matter what you say, what you shout about.
Alexander Usyk has openly backed Anthony Joshua, going as far as predicting a devastating knockout while taking a few shots at his rivals in the process. The confidence coming from the undisputed champion adds another layer to the ongoing drama and highlights the level of respect Joshua commands among some of the biggest names in boxing. While Fury continues to attract controversy outside the ring, Usyk's strong support keeps the spotlight firmly on Joshua and the growing tension surrounding this rivalry.
First next undisputed champion.
Anthony Joshua's next undisputed champion. Tell me, what was you thinking when he went down in the first round?
First round, it's test, but AJ back. Yeah, it's boxing, you know. It's boxing, back uppercut, good. It's a knockdown. Yeah, AJ back and win.
But the second knockdown, and I'm close to AJ, I was even worried.
Greedy belly. I know you now will speak. Ow, ow. You have cheese like a weak chin, blah blah blah. Greedy belly, get out.
Listen, Greedy Belly won last night against Marius Wack. Did you see that performance?
No.
Do we see AJ Greedy Belly next?
Yes, of course.
How does it go?
I will hear. I will in ring.
How will it go?
AJ win.
How does he win?
Knock him out.
There you go, AJ knockout from Alexander Usyk. Alexander, thank you so much. Guys, back to...
Eddie Hearn came out strongly in support of Anthony Joshua, describing him as one of the most reliable and highly respected professionals in modern boxing. By pointing to Joshua's proven career and accomplishments, Hearn also drew a clear contrast between Joshua's disciplined approach and the controversial behavior Fury displayed at the press conference. In the eyes of many boxing followers, the situation has become a clash between professionalism and unnecessary chaos, adding even more intensity to an already heated rivalry.
Resume of Anthony Joshua. He has the best resume in heavyweight boxing, bar none. He's always fought the toughest fights. He's fought everybody that's been a mandatory. He's never swerved anyone. You know, he's a throwback fighter. The boxing public, boxing hardcore fans, don't really like anyone that has significant success in that outer space. But still, people will think that he's been spoon-fed or he's had easy fights. He's never had easy fights. And he's a good individual who works as hard as he can, provides for his family, and he's got a good heart. So I don't see how...
Johnny Nelson offered a more balanced assessment, acknowledging that Anthony Joshua's inconsistency is still an issue, despite his determination, ability, and experience. That uncertainty is part of what makes Fury's psychological tactics potentially effective during press conferences. However, boxing professionals continue to emphasize that provocative behavior and cheap physical confrontations have no real bearing on what happens once the two fighters step inside the ring.
You know, he's got a knockout record, and so he can hit and he can hurt. But he shouldn't have been in Anthony Joshua's league, point blank. AJ, when it comes to the fashion of the fight, how he went about it, I thought he was on his front foot. He just was. I know in the gym, this guy's fluent. He's got great movement and great hand-foot-eye coordination. But then he just. There's a word called mercurial. I just learned it actually. And that describes Anthony Joshua. He's got so much talent, but it's a case of which version of him turns up when it comes to performance night. And performance night last night, the AJ that we know, the talented fighter we know, he wasn't there. The gut, the lion, the heart, he was there. Because he put him, after 20 seconds, he got put down, had to get back up again. He was in trouble. He was still making rookie mistakes. I'm thinking, you shouldn't make those mistakes at this stage in your career. You are a former world champion. I know you're pulling your tongue.
Amir Khan has described this matchup as potentially one of the biggest fights ever staged in the United Kingdom. However, even he recognizes that the press conference confrontation has placed an unwanted cloud over the build-up. Khan appears to give Fury a slight edge, while also pointing out that Fury's lack of recent activity could become a major weakness. His cautious stance reflects a broader concern within boxing, whether a fighter at this level should rely on physical intimidation and heated moments instead of allowing his performances in the ring to do the talking, particularly when facing an opponent with a resume as respected as Anthony Joshua's.
Do you have a prediction of how the AJ vs Tyson Fury fight could go?
In the UK, to have a mega fight like that will be massive. One of the biggest fights ever. Two heavyweights, two big names. And how the fight's going to go, it looks a hard one to say. I still need to go back and see how Fury's fight went. I mean, I know it's more like a sparring session Fury had, but still, I want to see how he looked. But I think it's a 50-50 fight. Very close, very close. I do lean a little bit more towards Fury, but like I said, as time's been going on and Fury's inactivity, I think might work against him. I'll probably say, yeah, it's still, yeah, it's a very close fight.
John Fury reflected with disappointment on how different this matchup might have been several years ago, when both fighters were at the peak of their powers and appeared almost unbeatable. That sense of nostalgia has only made some fans more frustrated, especially as the current build-up becomes dominated by childish confrontations instead of the competitive legacy these two names once represented. Back then, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury were among the most feared heavyweights in the sport, both undefeated and carrying an aura that made this rivalry feel truly special.
And these two have, it's gone now. It's gone. Both men have not got what they used to have. And 6 years ago it would have been the fight of the century. Already said that, and I was.
Carl Froch has taken a relatively measured view of the situation, giving Tyson Fury credit for what he has accomplished inside the ring, while also raising questions about Anthony Joshua's reluctance toward the matchup. However, even Froch's positive assessment of Fury doesn't make the physical confrontation acceptable. There is a clear difference between wanting two fighters to face each other and allowing emotions to turn into unnecessary physical contact before the actual fight. For many boxing professionals, crossing that line is difficult to defend, regardless of how much anticipation surrounds the matchup.
Won that fight, or sounded like they didn't want the fight, was Anthony Joshua. Talking about not stealing this thunder, whatever. I think the fight's going to happen. I think the fight is happening, and we're all looking forward to it. But Tyson Fury deserves respect, deserves credit, and we've got to acknowledge that he's just had a solid 12 rounds against a game opponent, and he got some good work in there, and that will set him up for the Anthony Joshua fight. And I'd like to see these two come together a little bit and just be face to face, up close and personal. Then you know.
Shane Fury acknowledged that the difference between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua has become much smaller than it once appeared. From his perspective, this is no longer a matchup where Tyson can be viewed as a clear and overwhelming favorite. That admission from someone close to Fury carries significant weight. Both fighters have been affected by time and the wear of their careers, and no amount of intimidation or confrontation can change the reality that Joshua enters this matchup as a serious and credible threat. With the heavyweight clash generating enormous anticipation, the outcome now looks far less predictable than it did in the past.
If you'd have asked me 5 or 6 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago, however long it would have been, it'd have been 75-25 Tyson. Now it evens up. The odds has evened up. I reckon I'd favour Tyson, but it's a close one. Both men's aged. It's just who's aged.
And that moment has now become one of the biggest talking points surrounding this heavyweight rivalry. Tyson Fury's confrontation with Anthony Joshua has drawn widespread criticism, with many boxing professionals viewing the incident as immature and unnecessary. For a sport built around competition inside the ropes, true champions are expected to let their fists and performances settle the argument, rather than relying on physical confrontations before the opening bell. Anthony Joshua chose not to escalate the situation, walking away with his composure intact and reinforcing the confidence he has shown throughout this rivalry. Meanwhile, Fury's actions have added another layer of controversy and sparked further debate among fans and fellow fighters. What do you make of the entire situation? Share your opinion in the comments, subscribe for more boxing updates, and stay tuned, because this heavyweight showdown is becoming more intense with every new development.